Frenchie. Say hi, Bench. Say hi, Bench. You know what? When he's running around the house, I feel like he's so small. But it's only when I see him sa mga picture or on video that I realize that he's really such a big dog. Like, look at his skull compared to mine. Oh, Bench, say hi. Say hi to YouTube. Hi. Hi, my name is Pancho. And I'm a very malikot bulldog. My name is Pancho. I eat fried tacos. I wear a sombrero. I gotta bring him out because otherwise I would not be able to film. So be right back. Oh. Hi guys. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tina and I'm a corporate lawyer engaged in corporate law practice in the Philippines. I decided to do something different today because I've been doing vlogs lately as well as a few law school related videos. For example, tips and tricks on answering the UP, LAE or law aptitude exam, which is where I went to law school. So I decided to do something different for today. In particular, I decided to do a story time video. I know I haven't revealed a lot of information about myself yet, but hopefully this story time will shed a bit of light on who I am as a lawyer. Oh my God. This story time is about my experience as a law professor. I was a law professor last year in the DLSU College of Law, or the De La Salle University College of Law. It was an experience that was so surreal to me because I felt like just a few years back, I was the one on the opposite side of the table. As in, I felt that it wasn't so long ago that I was the student sitting on the other end of the table. So it was very, very surreal, but also one of the most rewarding experiences of my professional life so far. I just wanted to share a little bit about how I got into it, how I was as a law professor. So how did I get into teaching? I actually taught last year, so that was 2018, and while I was a professor, or actually the more appropriate term would be a professorial lecturer in the DLSU College of Law, I was also a full-time lawyer working with the mother company of the company for which I work now. So parang my mother company, I was working for the mother company at that time, and now I'm the head legal of one of the subsidiaries of that mother company. So anyway, at the time I was working for the mother company, but I was also teaching in the DLSU College of Law. And looking back, it was very demanding in terms of time. Every minute was precious to me at that time because every minute was valuable. I could either use the time to work or I could use it to prepare for my classes. So you guys might be curious, like, how did I get into teaching? What made me decide to actually go into a discipline that is so different from what I know? Ever since I became a lawyer, I've been in corporate law practice since 2013. So I have been doing corporate law practice for 6 years now. So last year, in my 5th year of corporate law practice, I was just like, but I felt so entrenched in my corporate law practice, and I felt that I had to branch out into other areas of law. Otherwise, I would feel like I was practicing my profession solely to make corporations rich. Alam niyo yun? And I'm sure other corporate lawyers can relate. But it felt like I was just practicing within a vacuum. Like there were so many other facets of the law that I could explore, but I hadn't yet dipped my toes into. So I decided that last year was the time to do it. I was about to get married then, so I was preparing for my wedding. Grabe no, parang dami kong ginawa last year. I was preparing for my wedding, and I was working very hard at the mother company, and I was also a professorial lecturer. It was a lot, but it was very rewarding. More on that later. So yun nga, I wanted to branch out. I wanted to branch out in terms of practice. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to learn new subject matter that I otherwise wouldn't be able to delve into as a corporate law practitioner. Kasi yun nga, sa corporate law, very tunnel vision eh. Actually, it's that way regardless of your practice. If you're specializing in corporate law, as I was, and as I still am, then naturally, corporate law is the only subject matter that you handle. It's very rare that you're doing corporate law and you'll be assigned criminal cases or you'll be assigned litigation. It doesn't happen unless you ask for it in your law firm or in your company. I've had friends who were practicing corporate law and they wanted to experience litigation. So they asked for cases and they were able to litigate, and they were able to decide whether or not litigation was for them or if they wanted to stick with corporate law practice. But I myself know that I didn't want to litigate. I don't like litigation. I made up my mind when I was in law school that I didn't want to litigate. So naturally, the next available discipline was teaching. So what happened then was, yun nga, I really felt compelled to stretch the boundaries of what I knew as a lawyer. I wanted to do something different. I felt like I also wanted to pass on the knowledge that I did have about the law practice to young persons who would eventually become lawyers. So in one of the UP Law Facebook group ata yun. Malamang Facebook group yun, no? Hindi email group. So, in one of the UP Law Facebook groups, I saw a posting that the DLSU College of Law was looking for supervising lawyers for the legal clinic. Yung legal clinic is parang legal aid. It's an elective subject in some law schools. And in that subject, students actually handle cases. They actually go to court, and they're allowed to do that under the law student practice rule. It's actually so funny that I applied for that position because I really don't like litigation. Litigation is one of the branches of law practice wherein you actually go to court. Litigation is going to court, handling cases, drafting pleadings. It's basically the stuff you see in sa mga Law and Order. Yung talagang pumupunta ng court, that's litigation. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but I really don't like public speaking. So that's one of the reasons why I early on determined that litigation is totally not for me. But anyway, it's so funny that I applied for that position. I guess I was just willing to take any position and then to use it as a stepping stone to eventually teach different subjects. But yeah, at the time I applied for that position and I got it. I was offered the position as supervising lawyer for a legal clinic. In UP Law, we actually had a subject similar to legal clinic. They called it OLA, or Office of Legal Aid, and it was our single most important subject when we were seniors. The counterpart of legal aid clinic from DLSU Law was Office of Legal Aid in UP Law. Every single UP Law student during my time had to experience OLA. I heard that after my time, you had the option to take internship somewhere else. But during my time, OLA was inescapable. OLA was inevitable. Yun nga, it was our major subject when we were seniors. So even if I didn't like litigation, I did have a bit of experience naman, kahit papano. I had some basis for my decision not to litigate. Where was I? Yeah, I was eventually given the position, but I was told that I had to teach 2 subjects. Number 1, I had to be a supervising lawyer for the legal aid clinic subject, and number 2, I had to choose another subject to teach. So they made me choose between either legal writing or human rights. So I wasn't prepared. Hindi ko expect that it was required that I teach 2 subjects and not just 1. I was aware of the demands of teaching 2 subjects. I was aware that I couldn't do it, in short. Haggard much, nag-aayos pa ako ng wedding ko nun. So I actually did turn the job down. I told the director of the legal aid clinic, he was a very nice lawyer. I told him, sir, like, I'm grateful that you gave me this opportunity, but I really don't think I can handle teaching 2 subjects considering that I have a full-time job. So I did turn it down, but I also asked, attorney, is it possible that I teach only 1 subject? Because that I could do. That I had the time for. It took a bit of back and forth correspondence, but eventually, they allowed me to teach just 1 subject, and they allowed me to choose which of the 3 subjects, yung supervising lawyer, yung legal writing, or yung human rights, they allowed me to choose which one I wanted to teach. Guys, sorry pa iba-iba yung lighting. It's quite cloudy today, so the clouds are obstructing the view from my window. Thus, the very erratic lighting. But anyway, so yun, I chose the subject human rights. I decided not to go with the supervising lawyer position because number 1, I didn't really like litigation anyway. I just intended to use yung subject na yun as a stepping stone to eventually teach other subjects. Number 2, legal writing. Ayoko nun kasi hindi ako masyado nakinig nun nung nasa law school ako. Kasi diba, alam you guys, when you're in law school and you have minor subjects and major subjects, and naturally you're focused on your major subjects, and you tend to pay less attention to the minor subjects. And legal writing was a very minor subject. 1 unit lang kasi siya. So I chose human rights, a 2-unit subject, and that's how I started teaching. So more on the subject matter, human rights was a subject which was new to me because it was not part of the curriculum when I was in UP Law. However, it was a required subject in the DLSU College of Law. I think that's due in part to the fact that DLSU College of Law has a humanitarian background as one of the values on which it puts a premium. Kaya required sa kanila yung human rights. And according to my brother, who is actually a junior in Ateneo Law School, required na din daw sa kanila yung subject na human rights. Actually, lately, may nakikita akong mga human rights questions na lumalabas sa bar. I know that it's inevitable to prioritize your major subjects, yung mas may weight sa general weighted average nyo, but every subject is actually important, human rights included. So it was subject matter that was incredibly new to me. I remember actually a few days before my first class, going with my then fiance to Rex bookstore in Mega Mall to look for a human rights textbook. Ganon siya kabago sa akin that I didn't have any material about it from when I was in law school. Back then kasi when I was in law school, human rights seemed like such an abstract concept. To me back then, because nga I didn't take it naman when I was in law school, human rights was a subject that was rooted in very abstract legal basis, if any. So I was very happy to be able to teach a subject na I could finally concretize yung basis. So in my outline, I really broke down each of the bases of human rights law. Kasi it comes from so many different sources. It comes from the Constitution, it comes from treaties, it comes from international agreements, laws which implement treaties. So it was nice to see the solidification of human rights as a concept. It was great to be able to discover cases na ina-apply yung human rights concepts, na sinasite yung mga treaty or mga statute implementing treaties. So it was a learning experience for me just as much as it was for my students. I'm gonna show you guys my outline. I still have it saved on my phone. Here, you can see human rights syllabus. And there I have my outline that I made from scratch. I just had my friend who also taught in Ateneo Law forward me a copy of their syllabus, but I definitely did copy that outline. I just used it as a basis for me to see what other professors were teaching, and then I did it my own way. The subject to me was exciting. It was a universal concept kasi human rights by its very nature is a universal thing. It was also super exciting to me because I am definitely anti-Duterte, and at the time that I was teaching the subject, there were so many instances of megalomania on the part of Duterte, like extrajudicial killings left and right, pinaklose niya yung Boracay. So a lot of the time I would use Duterte, I would use current events as examples in my class. I would ask it in my exams, I would ask about it during recitation. So in law school, it's also important to be abreast of current events, because you can't be a lawyer and at the same time be ignorant about what's going on in the world and in your country. My schedule for my class was on Wednesdays, and the only reason why I was actually able to teach was because in my full-time job as a legal counsel, we actually had one work-from-home day a week. So sulit na sulit yung work-from-home day ko. My work-from-home day was a Wednesday, and that was the day of my class. So every Tuesday night, I would be preparing for my class. I would be reading and reading and reading. And believe you me, your professors prepare for class just as much as law students do, if not more. Actually, I would say more, because they have to be prepared to answer questions from the students. They have to know the subject matter inside out to be able to tell kung binobola lang sila ng student. I studied really hard for that subject, guys. As it should be naman. I expected the same of my students. I would actually say that I was pretty demanding as a professorial lecturer kasi my subject was 2 units. And I was aware that the students also had 3-unit subjects, 4-unit subjects. At that time, they had corporation law, taxation law. But I expected the same degree of preparation from them as I would expect they would give in their taxation or corporate law subjects. Kasi kahit 2 units lang yan, posible pa rin lumabas yan sa bar exam eh. I did give them a little leeway later on when I curved the grades at the end of the semester. Pero during recitation, talagang if I see that you really didn't prepare, that student would get a failing grade. Kasi unfair naman yun sa mga nag-prepare talaga, yung mga nag-aral talaga. Those who devoted their time and effort to study, to look for the material, to read it, to highlight it, to digest it, versus someone who totally didn't prepare. And trust me, professors can tell when someone didn't study. Professors can sense it. The night before my classes, I would be preparing, I would be studying really hard. I would sleep siguro mga 3 a.m. and then I would wake up at maybe around 7:30 in the morning for my 10 a.m. class. My class was from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. every Wednesday. Actually, talagang when I would go into the college, I would literally just park my car, go into my classroom, teach a subject, and then leave and then go straight to work. So it was a very, very demanding time in my professional life. Pero like I said, rewarding naman siya. Like, no regrets. I was very hard-pressed nung time na yun to do proper time management. I was really able to prove to myself that it's really possible to do all the things you want to do in a day. Yun nga lang, hindi ka matutulog ng matagal. There are definitely some trade-offs, pero at the end of the day, if you want to do something and you're willing and able to put in the work, then you will definitely be able to succeed. Testament talaga siya to the fact that as long as you have proper time management, you can do everything. About my students naman, I was teaching to sophomores, so they were sophomore law students. My students came from a mix of undergrad schools and undergrad courses. It was this jambalaya of different personalities, different undergrads, different people, different talents. It was a bit nostalgic actually because it reminded me so much of my days as a law student. There were students with political science backgrounds, psychology backgrounds, management economics backgrounds. There were Thomasians, Lasallians, Ateneans, which was really funny kasi di ba parang mortal enemies yung Ateneans and Lasallians? I don't know. I even had a student from UP undergrad. It was great to see such diversity in law school, especially since at the start I assumed na since LaSalle Law yan, siguro majority would be from LaSalle. But that wasn't the case. A majority of my students were actually males, which was very startling to me because nowadays, females outnumber males by a good number. One time I posted a photo of my class on Facebook and one of my lawyer friends commented na, wow, that's a very different demographic for law school in present times. Kasi talagang nowadays, more females than males ang law school. And it's so funny kasi may nabasa ko na article na females were only allowed to practice law 100 years ago. And now we outnumber males. So it was unusual. It was something out of the ordinary. But I was pleasantly surprised. I'm gonna insert a photo of my class. I have a few photos of us together. The last photo in particular was taken during Valentine's. Sobrang funny yun kasi pagpasok ko, talagang may flowers na sa desk ko, may chocolates, and these were nice flowers and nice chocolates. As in, nung time ko as a law student, it was very different. I knew what they were up to. Ganyan kasi pag law school, di ba? Pag may birthday yung professor or kung Valentine's or kung anong possible occasion pa yan, the students try to bribe the professor to not conduct recitation by giving flowers, chocolates, or maybe may kakanta dyan, or baka may pamerienda or something. But it was really funny kasi my class gave me expensive chocolates and expensive flowers. And nung time ko naman sa UP Law, yung kaya lang naman namin yung amber. Alam mo yun, yung amber's palabok, amber's spaghetti, amber's barbecue. And I'm a feeling students in UP Law do it to this day. But yun nga, during my time, yung parang offering namin sa professor just consisted of amber. Pero yung students ko, big time, di ba? May pa-Cadbury pa sila, may pa-sunflowers pa. So, anyway, I still conducted recitation on that day. Sorry, guys. Recitation goes on. Yeah, I conducted recitation that day, but I allowed volunteers. Yun na lang yung parang consolation ka sa kanila. I allowed those who felt that their grades were a bit iffy to volunteer in order to raise their grades. The great thing about my class is that I was teaching in DLSU Law, and I hate to say it, but there still is a prejudice against some schools sometimes. I don't approve of it and I don't believe it, but it certainly is there. Na parang may reputation that some students from these schools are different from students from the other schools. But I was very, very pleased to find out that my students were hardworking. They were tenacious, at least a majority of them, kasi meron din naman akong students na tagilid. But a lot of them actually strived really hard to study my subject. And I know that my subject was not easy to study kasi maraming American cases yan, maraming international cases, UN cases. There were lots of long treaties, mahahabang statutes, plus my textbook. You have the Constitution, and you have all these human rights content spread across different legal resources. Yung cases pa nga lang, they weren't easy to find eh. Hindi yung parang may set deck of reading na like other subjects. Yung parang pupunta ka na lang sa photocopier and then you would ask for the set of readings for that particular subject. Pero yung akin, talagang they had to look for them online, they had to read them, they had to understand them. Kasi hindi ako madaling magpa-reset, admittedly. Which is why I really rewarded those who studied in terms of grades. So it was great to be able to personally attest to the fact that school is immaterial. If you're set on being a good law student, then you'll be able to do it regardless of your school. In fact, I can safely say that there were some students who were better than students in UP Law. I would even say that I had some students in DLSU Law who were better than me as a student when I was in UP Law. And it's great. Like, it was amazing. I would actually say that one of the greatest rewards of a professor is when they can see that their students can eventually surpass them. Yung makikita mo na your students have the potential to exceed or to surpass you, it's a great feeling. And I definitely got that sense with some of my students sa DLSU Law. So a little bit about grading. How did I grade? I adopted a common grading system, which was 40% recitation, 30% midterms, and then 30% finals. So the bulk of where students' grade comes from would really still be good old-fashioned recitation. Which is how it should be naman. Kasi you're training students to argue eh. Even if they don't practice litigation later on and they go into other forms of law practice which don't require them to verbally argue before a judge, still they will be able to use those skills in argument sa pagdraft ng mga legal opinions, legal memos, things like that. So I placed a premium on recitation, as I'm sure many other professorial lecturers did then. I didn't care much or actually at all about attendance. Kasi as long as a student was not called for that day, tas wala siya, okay lang. There would be no consequence. What I would feel a student for is kung matawag siya and wala siya doon. It would be unfair kasi to have no grade consequence for those who didn't prepare compared to those who stayed up all night to actually read for my subject. One of the fun things I did was that ginamit ko yung names ng family and friends ko in my exam questions. I used the names of my high school friends, my college friends, even my fiancé. Ginagamit ko yung names nila. How did I grade at the end of the semester? At the end of the semester, I did curve the grades para mas marami ang pumasa. I did it because I appreciated naman that the students would study for my subject despite having more major subjects na kailangan nilang aralin. In fact, I think that they had taxation later on in the day after my class. I've been there, so I knew that a lot of the time, talaga, they have no choice but to prioritize major subjects. Yun na lang yung parang concession ko. And I felt that it was fair. I definitely rewarded those students who I could tell always studied with very high grades. Did I fail anyone? Unfortunately, yes, I did fail a particular student, but I felt that it was a fair decision. The effort that you put in equals the grade that you get, and that's how it should be. Dapat walang favorites. I mean, that's what's fair. A lot of the times, law students try to bluff. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I've done it myself. But I'm just saying na your professor will be able to tell if you're just beating around the bush and you haven't really prepared for class. So to law students out there, would I recommend that you eventually teach? Definitely. 100%. Sobrang demanding siya, but also sobrang rewarding. I've never ever before been interested in being a teacher. Personally, I don't think I have the patience to teach at an elementary or at a high school level. But law school, I feel, was the perfect place for me to teach. I'm so glad that I did it despite the challenges that I faced, despite the time constraints, despite the haggardness. So guys, that is all for my story time. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also don't forget to turn on the notification bell to be notified of my future videos. If you have any video suggestions or you have any videos you want me to do, any topics you want me to talk about, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye!